The sealed book in Daniel. What secrets are yet to be revealed? Imagine discovering a book so powerful, so mysterious, that even the prophet who wrote it was told to seal it up. A book filled with secrets, meant only for a future generation. That's exactly what happened in the book of Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. A sealed book, hidden knowledge, a divine message locked away for thousands of years. What could be inside? And more importantly, could it be opening right now? What if Daniel's book was sealed because the world wasn't ready for the truth? The Bible is a history book, but it is unlike any other history book available in any public library. The history of the Bible starts with the creation of the earth and ends with the end of the world. No other history book has ever been published that covers such a broad range of events on planet Earth, partially because no one was present at the start to witness and document it. And therefore, no one can write the beginning of our world authoritatively. The Bible is a book full of predictions. Its pages contain 735 predictions about the future. A prediction can be found in 1/4 of the Bible's chapters. From beginning to end, it is basically a prophetic text, though some books focus more on predictions than others. 596 of the 735 predictions have indeed occurred, and have literally come true according to the scripture prediction. So, 81% of all Bible prophecies have already come true, and some of those prophecies were made centuries before the case. It doesn't take much confidence to believe that the remaining 19% will happen as well. That's a very high score. But what about the 19% that remains? Could the final events be happening right now? Our story begins in ancient Babylon. Daniel, a young Hebrew captive, was taken from Jerusalem when the mighty empire of Babylon conquered his homeland. And soon we'll reveal how Daniel's visions could be more relevant today than ever before. But Daniel wasn't just any prisoner. He had a gift. And this gift may hold the key to unlocking the most terrifying truth about where we are today. A gift so powerful that it not only saved his life, but it may save ours too. A gift to interpret dreams and to see the future. Something unbelievable was about to happen. A vision unlike any other was about to shake Daniel to his core. Could Daniel's vision reveal something too terrifying for us to accept? In Daniel 10, he describes seeing a heavenly being. Many believe this was none other than the pre-incarnate Christ, or possibly the angel Gabriel, sent to deliver an urgent message. And what he was about to say would change Daniel's life forever. We have reached a chapter that is different from all the other prophecies in the Bible. God is so wise that he knows how much of the future we can handle, how much to tell us, and how much to keep secret. I thank him that he has kept so much of the future hidden. If he had told us everything, I don't think we could handle it. But what he has shown us is important and is exactly what we need to know. Let me remind you that prophecy is a miracle. The Bible itself is a miracle. Only God has the power to write history before it happens. That's why some people don't believe it's possible. If you don't believe in God, and if you don't believe in a God of miracles, then you won't believe that the future can be told in such detail. Since God can know and reveal the future, how can a man learn it from God? How could a man like Daniel write about things that had not happened yet? Daniel felt the same way many of us do today. You look at the world, you read the newspaper, you watch the news on TV, and you wonder, what on earth is going on? Where is this all leading? It seems like the world is out of control. What is God doing? And where is He? Daniel was determined to get an answer from God. And now we know that the very first day he prayed, God heard him. God sent an angel with the answer. But there was a battle in the spiritual world. A good angel was bringing the answer to Daniel, but a bad angel tried to stop him. The forces that fought against Daniel's revelation are still fighting today. 3 weeks after Daniel started praying, the angel arrived to tell him the future. We see that. At that time Michael shall stand up, the great prince who stands watch over the sons of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation. The angel Michael is known for fighting spiritual battles. As the archangel, he is seen as the true enemy of Satan. It is important to understand that Satan is not the opposite of Jesus. Instead, he fights against Michael, who is a high-ranking angel. Besides being a warrior, Michael has a special job of protecting Israel. God chose Michael to be the spiritual guardian of this nation. The Bible talks about a time of great trouble. This means there will be suffering for Israel and a terrible time for the whole world. This is called the Great Tribulation. It is also known as the time of Jacob's trouble, just as it says in Jeremiah 30. What is the time of trouble that is coming? And could it be closer than we think? But then, the angel does something unexpected. Instead of explaining the vision fully, he tells Daniel to seal up the prophecy. But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Daniel 12, verse 4. Why? Why would God hide this prophecy until the time of the end? Now, there are some important instructions. Daniel is told, the words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end. It wasn't time for people to fully understand this prophecy yet. This is amazing. Many parts of the Bible weren't written just for the people of that time. They were written for us, so we could read them and be encouraged. Some parts of the Bible come alive in certain situations. Could we be the generation this was written for? It's an exciting thought, isn't it? Daniel was told to seal up the words, but a seal doesn't stay closed forever. It also means that this prophecy is complete and must not be changed. No one should add to it or take away from it. Sadly, there are some Bibles that have tampered with the book of Daniel. They've added extra chapters that don't belong. Did you know that? Some Bibles have a Daniel chapter 13, but it's not real. If you ever see a Bible with a Daniel 13, you have the wrong Bible. The Jerusalem Bible has it. Some versions of the New English Bible have it. The Common Bible of the Revised Standard Version includes it too. But I tell you, that extra chapter is not part of the true Word of God. If you're interested in those books, buy them separately. But don't get a Bible with them added in. Daniel's prophecy was important in his own time. But one day, at the time of the end, his prophecy would matter even more. That is why it was important to shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. In the book of Daniel, we are given a picture of what the time of the end will look like. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. Some people believe this means that in the last days, people will travel all over the world, run to and fro, and that information will grow quickly. Knowledge shall increase. The idea is that people will search everywhere for answers to important questions, especially about what will happen in the future. Daniel has already told us enough so that his book can be sealed. From Daniel 11 to Daniel 12, we learn about a world ruler who will fight against God, a world religion that is built on the abomination of desolation, a world war that will bring down the ruler, a time of great trouble for Israel that will last 3.5 years. God's people will be saved after the time of trouble. There will be a resurrection and judgment. The righteous will be rewarded. So Daniel closed the book, and the angels were confused too. Remember, there were 3 of them in chapter 10. Here they are again, one in the middle, standing above the river, and one on each side. They didn't understand everything, and they started asking questions. Then I, Daniel, looked, and there before me stood 2 others, one on this bank of the river, and one on the opposite bank. 6. One of them said to the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, "How long will it be before these astonishing things are fulfilled?" The man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, lifted his right hand and his left hand toward heaven, and I heard him swear by him who lives forever, saying, "It will be for a time, times and half a time. When the power of the holy people has been finally broken, all these things will be completed." The angel told another angel in Daniel that these things would happen over 3.5 years. A time, times, and half a time. This 3.5 year period is mentioned in many other Bible prophecies. 1 Peter 1:21 says, "Even the angels long to look into these prophecies and decide what they are all meaning." That means even the angels study God's prophecies, just like we do. One angel asked, "How long will this last? How long will Daniel's people suffer? How much longer must they go through this?" Daniel 7 says, "This is when God's people will be under the Antichrist's power." Could the Antichrist already be among us? Keep watching, because in just a few moments, everything will come together. Daniel 9 says, this is the time between the Antichrist breaking his promise with Israel, setting up the evil thing in the temple, and when Jesus comes to rule. Daniel 12 verse 7 calls this the time of trouble for Israel. Revelation 11 verse 2 says this is when unbelievers will take over God's holy city. Revelation 11 verse 3 says this is when God's 2 witnesses will preach. Revelation 12 verse 6 and 14 say this is when God will keep Israel safe in the wilderness. When we put all of these together, we see this is the second half of Daniel's 70th week, also known as the Great Tribulation. But we don't know much about the first half. Did you know that the Bible tells us 6 different times that this period of trouble will last 3.5 years? That's 42 months, or 1,260 days. God couldn't have made it clearer. Jesus himself said that if God didn't shorten that time, nobody would survive. But God has set a limit, just 3.5 years. The people of Israel may seem completely crushed as these events conclude, but at that time, the Messiah, in whom they will place their trust before his return, will come back to rescue them. At this point, Daniel had a question. He wanted to understand more. He didn't quite get what the 3.5 years meant. What was going to happen? What would it all lead to? But the angel told Daniel, "That's all you need to know." Daniel didn't understand everything either, even though he heard it himself. He said, "What shall be the end of these things?" Maybe Daniel asked this because he was worried. He knew how awful the time of trouble would be. The angel did give 2 little hints. First, 1,290 days after the trouble starts, then 1,335 days. What will happen in the 1,290 days and 1,335 days mentioned at the end of Daniel? What's about to happen next is so important. It could change everything. That means after the 3.5 years, something will happen in another month. Then, after that, something else in another month and a half. And he said, Go your way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified, made white and refined, but the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. The command to go your way simply means to go, but it doesn't mean to walk away. The angel told Daniel to stop worrying and questioning. More answers would come later, but for now, Daniel needed to trust what God had already shown him. Daniel needed to stop questioning because the full meaning of these things would not be known till the time of the end. Until then, these prophecies would remain closed up and sealed. That doesn't mean these words had no lesson, no blessing, or no purpose for people before the time of the end. But when that time comes, these prophecies will make more sense. Today, there is great interest in prophecy, and in the last 150 years, people have gained an amazing understanding of what the Bible says about the future. This should show us that we truly are in the time of the end. Some people argue against certain ideas about prophecy, saying, "Your ideas are new. The early church or past Christians didn't teach this. Your ideas must be wrong because they are new." But God told Daniel that the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. That should make us think differently. Many believe we are now living in the time of the end. And if that's true, what happens next will be unlike anything the world has ever seen. If that is true, the sealed book is about to be opened. And when it is, everything will change. But one thing is certain: Jesus is coming soon. And the question remains, are you ready? For centuries, people have tried to unlock the mystery of Daniel's sealed book. But here's the thing. It wasn't meant to be understood back then. God said it would remain hidden until the time of the end. And guess what? Many biblical scholars believe that time is now. However, this is not the only prophecy God hid in the Bible. There was also the thunders prophecy. How is that possible? Is this clickbait or true? Imagine a message so terrifying and filled with bloodshed that it goes beyond everything already spoken. Or, if that's not it, imagine a message so incredibly powerful that it had to be hidden from our fragile minds until the time of the tribulation, when it would finally be revealed. A hidden prophecy has yet to occur, and only one man knew this revelation. The name of this man was Apostle John, and the name of this prophecy is the Seven Thunders. The prophecy occurs in the middle of chapter 6 to 16 of Revelation. These chapters of Revelation focus on Satan's presence on earth. This part of the book can be challenging to understand and apply. Unfortunately, this is the bleak section. Things will get significantly worse before they get better. However, it's important to note that the scenarios in these chapters represent the worst possible outcomes. Nevertheless, the depicted events are distressing enough. The prophecy occurs during the judgments of the tribulation. It is in between the sixth and seventh trumpet that this hidden prophecy is revealed. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot on the earth, and cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I heard a voice from heaven, saying unto me, Seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, Just as John was about to write down the words spoken by the seven thunders, a voice from heaven told him not to write them down and to keep them secret. The same throne that sends out lightning and loud thunder gave the command to hide what the voices said. We don't know why these words were sealed, but it might be because the judgment they spoke about was too frightening to share. The Bible never tells us what the message of the seven thunders was, so we can't guess. These are the only words in Revelation that are kept a secret. The seven thunders look like they are part of the series of judgments in the book of Revelation. I say look like because their words were not written down, so we can't know for sure if they are actually judgments. Still, since they come after the seal and trumpet judgments, and before the bowl judgments, it seems like the mysterious thunders could also be judgments. Since thunder is often thought of as the voice of God in judgment, this idea makes it seem even more likely that these mysterious, hidden instructions might be judgments too. The seven peals of thunder did not merely make a loud noise, but communicated information that John was about to write. In obedience to God's commands, John had already written much of what he saw in his visions. Later in Revelation, John would once again be commanded to write what he saw in his visions. Whether the voice was that of the Father, or Jesus Christ, or an angel is not revealed. The command, however, clearly originated with God. The reason John was forbidden to record the message is not revealed. It may be that the judgments were simply too terrifying to be recorded. Any speculation as to the content of their message is pointless. If God wanted it to be known, He would not have forbidden John to write it. They are the only words in the book of Revelation that are sealed. Let's focus on the part of the reasoning that describes things as too terrifying. In all the apocalyptic movies I have seen related to the tribulation, they are consistently sanitized. In other words, the horrific reality of the tribulation, as depicted in the Bible's book of Revelation, is visually softened. This is akin to the difference between cellophane-wrapped hamburger meat at a grocery store and the blood, filth, and messiness of a budget butchery. Even that comparison does not truly reflect the severity of what is to come. Imagine a message that surpasses the terror and bloodshed of everything that has been previously spoken. Or, if that's not the case, envision a message so immensely powerful that it must remain sealed from our sensitive minds until the moment it is revealed during the tribulation. Prophecy is meant to inspire us to witness, yet the reality of the judgments faced by souls in rebellion against God is often neglected in the good news message. It is profoundly troubling that this critical aspect is frequently overlooked these days, especially considering the times that are approaching and the reality many will soon experience. However, it could be very true that the seven thunders serve as a delay of all the judgments being released on the world. Of course, this upsets many people who comment on the Bible and gets them wondering all kinds of things. If John wasn't allowed to tell us what they said, why did he even mention it? One reason could be to remind us that there are things in God's plan that remain a mystery. These secrets should make us careful and humble when we try to explain or predict what will happen. This illustrates the principle that while God has revealed much, there are secrets which God has not seen fit to reveal to man at this time.